Rachel Levine, what's her role? Some
Admiral.
She's an admiral. Rachel Levine is on the short bus for Woman of the Year. She's potentially going to win Woman of the Year. And I was thinking, like, if, that doesn't
As
make
she
sense.
should.
Yeah, well, I was thinking, like, Rachel Levine, like, why should she be Woman of the Year? And I was thinking, like, who else could be? Like, what are some women athletes I know? And the only ones I could think of are Leah Thomas. Like, name a woman athlete in my head. I'm like, all right, Leah Thomas, Mia Hamm. And those are the only Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah.
Those are the only two women athletes I can think of.
Brittany Griner, just because she's in the news being arrested in Russia.
Yeah.
That's all I know, man.
But I'm kidding. There's obviously plenty of women athletes. I can name a bunch.
Go ahead, rattle a few off.
Maria Webb. I believe is a basketball player.
Did you just make that up? I really don't know.
I thought she was a basketball player, Maria Webb. But it's interesting how they do this. It's part of like the confusion, and I'm calling it like the fog of war.
Yeah.
And it's like assume that like where there is a war against the population, against the masses, against the people, against the West. So like in this fog of war, you need to make everything as backwards and upside down as possible so no rational people can get a bearing of where they're at.
Yeah. You just, somebody hit me from here. And like, all
Exactly.
Of a sudden,
What was it? Well, so it's like anything that could be an easy base hit standard. Oh, Woman of the Year is Mia Hamm. It's like, nope, we're not doing that. Woman of the Year is a man.
Yep.
You have to wear a mask even though they don't work. The guy no one voted for got 81 million votes. Like all these little things. Putin's to blame for everything. White supremacy is our country's biggest problems. The kids need to be LGBT. It's like any sort of like place where you can get relief and back to normal and rational is being reversed and replaced with just like this stupid muppetry.
Yeah, there's those like non-denominational pastors who tell you God is non-binary. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's like I actually had a really solid foundation.
Yeah, you just
God
shook
and
the core. It's like
and my faith in God, and that was my foundation. But now God's non-binary. It kind of puts everything on its head. And the fog of war is the definition is confusion caused by chaos of war or battle, uncertainty and situational awareness is experienced by participants in military operations.
So you're getting shot from every direction. You're like, where'd that come from? They're trying to fuck my kids? like what's that over there?
They're trying to fuck your
I'm
kids.
a racist.
You have to get a jab to keep your job. Everyone voted for Joe Biden.
You block 5 and then they hit you with 3, and all of a sudden you're taking a loss.
And it's just meant to deceive us and keep the fish brain people onto the, completely on their side and like at their will, like just waiting for the narrative, waiting for the quote truth. We saw this perfect example. Remember the truckers that ended COVID?
Yeah.
The Canadian truckers, they were Nazis. Remember?
Yeah.
Trudeau, they're Nazis. These are people flying Nazi
There was
flags.
a Nazi flag. I sent a guy down there with it. So now I can talk about it for years.
Yeah. So the truckers were Nazis, and everyone who watches goes, "Oh, I hate Nazis. Nazis are bad."
It's like 3 sick guys doing like, hey, like all the white people dancing to Indian music.
Yeah. So
It's
those were Nazis, and everyone had to go, yeah, Nazis. Those were Nazis. That's bad. But now everyone's supporting Ukraine, which has literal murderous Nazi battalions. And those need to be ignored because Salon's going to write an article about how it's a long story where these Nazis are and where they came from and why.
Let me read the headline. Are there really neo-Nazis fighting for Ukraine? Well, yes, but it's a long story.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Are you people insane?
Yeah. So it's a long story now. And basically the way this...
But when it was a long story with the truckers, the long story being, well, there's actually people from all types of religions, ethnicities, whatever. It wasn't a long story.
There was one flag planted, one group of like 4 people. Yeah. They were all Nazis.
That's a short story. Everyone's a Nazi.
That's the short story. Exactly. Everyone's a Nazi. So now it's like everything is obviously very tribal. And I've realized it's the weak women and bitch boy men that this narrative is given to. Because if you're a bitch boy man, you need to kind of follow the group for survival purposes.
Yeah.
So it's like you need to do what everyone says. You need to go along with the consensus because you're not strong enough to look at things rationally, truthfully, and say, ooh, that's not right. This isn't correct, because you're not strong enough to do that. So all they have to do is just beat you down and keep you in the tribe, show Stephen Colbert and John Oliver, and say, here's what we think, and then they just go, oh yeah, I'm going along with that, and it's like a protection thing. They're too weak to make up their own mind and stand alone. So all you have to do, instead of like convince people with your ideas or with the truth or what's really going on, instead of doing that, the powers that be just focus on weakening the men, making them bitch boys, making them listeners. Put your mask on. Oh, it doesn't do anything. Put your mask on anyway. And now you get these people that are basically like this manufactured consensus.
Yeah.
This Muppetry 51%. So you get the majority of the population going in a direction, but you never had to convince them with ideas. All you had to do was make them eat poisoned food, eat bad water, watch pornography, threaten them, but by losing their job if they don't get the shot. All these things that make the men weak has been the focus, and it makes total sense because it's not about convincing people that your stupid ideas are good ideas. It's about just scaring the bitch boys into signing their lives away and
get in line, like get back in line. Yeah, hey, most of the group, they're over there thinking this. You don't want to stand out, do you?
Exactly.
Nazi.
So exactly. You don't need to convince people that your ideas are better. You have to just Muppetize the men, and then
they're doing a good job of that.
Enough
right now.
the Muppets are in together in a group, and now it's a tribe, and now everyone's following the Muppet group, and you can make them believe and say and do very crazy things as long as John Oliver with his accent tells you how smart and funny your side is.
Yeah, as long as John Oliver has a punchline metaphor that tells you how much of a good boy you are.